Welcome to the Artsy Raven, a show about writing, publishing, and the arts. With your host, the award-winning writer, editor, and publisher, J.F. Gerard.
Welcome to another episode of the Artsy Raven, and today our special guest is MC Joudrey. MC is an award-winning Canadian writer, artist, and designer. His second novel of Violence and Cliché was released in 2013, followed by his collection of short stories, Charleswood Road, Stories in 2014, which was nominated for the 2015 John Hirsch Manitoba Book Award. His novel, Fanonymous, was released in 2019 and won the Independent Publisher Gold Medal for Best Work of Fiction for Western Canada. It was also nominated for 2 Manitoba Book Awards, including the Margaret Laurence Award for Best Work of Fiction. MC has been a member of the Submission Selection Committee for the CBC Short Fiction Prize and a jury member for the Manitoba Book Awards. As a designer, his work has been awarded 2 Alcuin Design Book Awards and the Manuela Manitoba Book Award for Design. He is also a bookbinder, and a number of his works are held in galleries internationally. And his latest book is Marmalade Parade. So welcome, MC.
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me. You can just call me by my first name, Matt.
Matt, okay. So you seem to do a lot of things with books. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you started?
Yeah, I realized when you were reading off my bio, I thought, oh boy, that thing needs to be shortened up a bit.
Okay.
It's too long. It's too long. I should just say that I write books and I like cats or something, this way it keeps it nice and short, sweet.
It's okay. It's okay. So, was your background a designer and visual artist? Is that how you started before you started writing, or okay?
Yeah, my post-secondary is in graphic design and animation, actually, computer animation and classical animation. And I started out in the design world, working for a couple of firms, and then freelancing. And then after that, sort of moved away from it, which is funny because as a publisher now, I oversee almost all of our design work within the publishing house. So it's sort of come back full circle.
Well, and also reading your bio, I didn't realize Manitoba had so many awards. I don't know if there's any in Ontario. I'll have to check. But
Well,
okay,
that's
now,
interesting
yeah.
because the Manitoba Book Awards actually disappeared about 2 years ago.
Oh,
However, a wonderful group of local writers have brought the awards back, and in 2026 it'll be the first reemergence of the awards in 2 years. So that's really exciting for the province, and of course it's heralded back by the enthusiastic group of authors that are heading it up.
okay, cool. Now, at what point did you start writing?
That's a good question. I'd have to think about that for a second. It's probably a couple of decades now. Yeah, it's about 2 decades probably. I started writing and drawing comic books, and my art is very detailed, and so I was always missing deadlines. And slowly I started doing more and more writing. I shouldn't say more writing, just focusing more on the writing than the illustrations. And I marvel at the illustrators in the comics and sequential art world who are able to do amazing illustration work by hand and still meet their deadlines. It's mind blowing.
Oh gosh, who knows where? I don't know. I think some of my artist friends are kind of upset about AI, but that's another can of worms affecting the art world right now, right? So,
Yeah, well, we're upset about it too as writers.
yes, that's true.
Writers, artists. I think anybody in the arts world definitely has to have the artificial intelligence problem on their radar. simply because the reason that we create work, is for enjoyment, but it's also to share the human condition. And when you use AI, you're taking the human out of the human condition. And artwork was never meant to be. When I say artwork, music, dance, theater, film, writing, it was never meant to be perfect. What it was meant to be was human. And it was meant to be consumed by humans, made by humans for humans, right? So I think right now, at least in its what's probably in its adolescence now, AI, it's a real problem, and it's being misused for the most part. I'm not saying that there's not potential positive facets to it, but for now, I think that you have to be really careful and protect copyright and intellectual property in Canada. And we just don't have intellectual property reform yet. But hopefully hopefully our new federal government will recognize the importance of Canadian stories, Canadian artwork, Canadian music, Canadian film, and support that through copyright reform to protect the creators' livelihoods.
Well, definitely. I mean, I think right now we're in the middle of the chaos. I don't think anything's settled yet. Like you said, it's in its infancy.
That's
So
right.
yeah. Now, can you tell me a little bit about your press? How did that get started?
Probably I took a wrong turn somewhere. No, going back to the comic book thing, I was going to festivals and conventions and that sort of stuff, and I was seeing amazing work by amazing creators, and seeing that work and talking to these brilliant people, from all different walks of life and cultures and diversity. I was just blown away by the fact that they couldn't find publishing houses to support their work, because at the end of the day, there are way more creators than there are publishing houses, and publishing, at least the publishing industry in Canada, is predicated upon whether or not they get their grants, and that is an extremely limited budget. And so there's lots of great work that goes unpublished, and I thought to myself, I would publish a lot of this work. And I guess here I am almost 20 years later, still sort of putting my money where my mouth is to put out great work by great Canadian creators.
And now
I think
going
that's
back to
it.
the question of AI, like, do you find like I haven't looked at your site's submission guidelines, but like I'm
Right.
assuming, you tell people not to send an AI, but do you still get it anyways?
That's it's a real problem for sure, JF. You know, our submission guidelines state that we are vehemently opposed to receiving anything that is AI generated in any way, whether it's artwork or text. We're in the business of human generated work, and that's what we're after. So we hope that people recognize that that's our mandate, and that we're expecting there's a level of integrity there. That's, as you pointed out, that's not always the case. And yes, we absolutely do see AI generated work. Typically, it's by people who don't take writing or art seriously. They're just trying to throw something against the wall to see if it'll stick. And that also is a reflection in the quality of the submission as well. A great artist and writer are going to submit a very thorough submissions package. They're not just going to throw us their manuscript. They're going to submit us a market prospectus. They're going to submit a beautiful, very succinct synopsis, a cover letter, and their entire CV. And it's going to look like they're applying for a job.
Mhm.
And so when somebody puts that kind of time effort, and probably even to some degree a small financial investment in it, we take that very seriously, and we want to support those types of serious professionals.
So what kind of manuscripts do you usually look for at your press?
Great question. We look for just about anything. So we publish fiction, and all the various genres of fiction. We publish poetry, graphic novels, and from time to time an exceptional work of nonfiction, mostly memoir. So we love these these types of books. Well, I should say these more generic ways of describing books, but we're after something that just speaks to us at that moment, something unique, brilliant, that captures a powerful voice from. It could be anything. It could be somebody who's writing about science fiction, or it could be somebody who's writing about a small town in their country of origin, and how they've migrated from there to Canada, and the struggle. It could be anything, as long as we feel that it's going to generate an audience, potentially exact some form of change in the world. Maybe that's a little bit lofty, but that is a hope. And yeah, all over the map, really.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about your latest book, Marmalade Parade, and can you tell
Sure.
us a bit about it?
Yeah. So the focus of this book is on a couple of key points. I think the first is the plot is centered around memory, and the importance to being a human being, and having a memory, but also how unreliable memory and recall is, and that it's probably the most important faculty that we rely on, intellectually, of course, is our ability to remember things, to recall them, and to extrapolate those fragments and use them in the real world. And how often our memory is not as it seems, or as it should be, and it's not as reliable as we hope it is. So the basic plot centers around two characters in an unknown part of the world, in an unknown region. It's remote. It's a house of some sort. We don't know who the owner is. We don't know the names of anybody. And a conversation begins where both of these characters are trying to figure out why they've been brought together. And so from there, there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of question asking, a lot of digging into memory and trying to figure out what their purpose is, and what their purpose is with each other. And a lot of it is unreliable. The narrator is unreliable. Yeah, it's just a really interesting deep dive into subconscious. And I really enjoyed writing it, but it's experimental in form as well.
Okay, as I listen to you, it almost reminds me of Waiting for Godot.
I love
Two
that.
people wandering around,
Yeah,
No,
I love
what
that. I'll take it. I will say this: it's there's very little wandering.
Okay.
I tried to really narrow the scope of my environment, or I should say, the character's environment. I wanted to have a very I wanted it to be very remote. So I wanted to remove society from it completely. and I thought that that would create this sort of eerie, almost ethereal kind of feeling of what humanity once was, without really diving too deep into that. And then the second piece is that I narrowed that scope of locations so that the reader felt confined. You know, sort of like Hitchcock's Dial M for Murder. I mean, it takes place in one room of an apartment, you know,
Yeah.
and he
Okay.
does it so well. But it also feels like you feel a sense of enclosure, and that you're trapped,
Hmm.
and that
Now, I was gonna ask, like, what inspired this? Like, were you trapped somewhere in an elevator or something?
No, no. I just felt that I had, oddly enough, as the writer of this, I felt that I was in more control of a smaller environment.
Hmm?
I had less to, I had less to share in that I didn't have to work with such a large piece of real estate or space.
Yeah.
This allowed me to, really focus more on the character driven aspects of this novel, while, as I said, creating this sort of unsettling environment that they're trapped in. And I mean, there is a lot of discussion in the book about the visuals, um, and the visuals being looking out through the windows of the house that they're in, and the world beyond their enclosure. And again, my hope is that, one, that allows the reader to know that there is a world beyond the borders of the house, but two, that that it only creates a further sense of um, imprisonment, almost, for the two characters, that the reader is always wondering why they can't seem to get outside of the house.
Gosh. They're like, well, maybe they're an NPC or something.
That's
Get
right.
out of the game.
That's
But
right.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, all right. So okay, let's switch to a different topic. Like for
Sure.
writers that are just starting out, do you have any
Mhm.
advice for them or any advice that you were given that still resonates with you?
Yeah. I mean, the advice that I would give is sort of double edged, in that, well, I should say two pronged is probably the better way of putting it. Is one from the perspective of a writer, and one from the perspective of a publisher.
Hmm.
Um, from the perspective of a writer is, I mean, really, it is, never give up. You just have to, always keep writing, keep writing, keep writing, submit, keep writing. Read all the time. Um, you know, Join writing groups, build a community around yourself, because there's so much perspective that's not available to you in the industry. And the only way to get it is to get your feet right through the door and join in the industry, through your peers, and use your peers in ways where they're willing to help. Find beta readers for your book to get perspectives that you wouldn't normally get. It's nice that your mom says that your book's the greatest book in the world, but what you need independent third parties who are going to tell you the straight goods about your book. Like, yeah, you really have something here, but chapter 3 sucks, and I don't like the ending, and here's why. And I think it needs real work, and you have some pacing issues, and some of the dialogue, sounds stilted and, quite frankly, fake. So, take it or leave it, but I wouldn't submit this yet until you address these issues, because there is a good book there. It's just, it needs a lot of work. And I think that goes back to the next piece, which is you have to have a thick skin. because you are going to receive tons and tons of criticism. And the best authors take that criticism and use it and flip it so that it's a positive for them. From the publisher side of things, I think that the most important thing is professionalism. That when you submit a book, you believe it is of the greatest importance, so much so that you're willing to do exactly what I had mentioned earlier, which is put a full and thorough package together. The second piece is that, you know, for At Bay Press, my publishing company, you know, we have an electronic submissions program through CanSubmit. So you're going to find out right away that it was received. Well, the second that you know that you've uploaded this project to us, this manuscript, you're done. Like, you know that we've got it. You just now have to be patient. Well, don't sit back and, you know, throw your feet up and start watching Netflix. You know, the job here isn't over. It's now to write your next piece and get that out in the world, because you are a professional writer, aren't you? Like, that's what your job is. So you should be writing. If you're an artist, you should be drawing. You should always be working on the next thing and developing your skills and getting better every step of the way. If you're still submitting, some publishers still accept and expect to receive printed manuscripts, which is really hard to know whether or not it's been received. My suggestion is to throw in a self-addressed stamped postcard, pre-stamped, ready to go, and it just says, did you receive the manuscript? Yes. And they will send that back to you in the mail. And then, you know, over the next like 8 to 12 months that at least it's been received, and you can sort of sleep at night knowing that you don't have to worry if it's lost in, you know, the dead letter office over at the post office, right?
Well, okay. All right, Matt, you're going to do a reading for us. Can you give us a bit of context and then you can start reading?
Oh, for sure. So I'm going to be reading from sort of a third of the way into the book. It's chapter 7 in the book, and it's a conversation between the two main characters. Both characters, of course, are unnamed. The narrator has a nickname for the antagonist, and we're gonna have a conversation between the two where they're trying to dig a little deeper into the things that they've begun to discover in the book about each other. So this is it.
Sure.
Okay. All right, chapter 7 from Marmalade Parade. I'm pulling a shirt on over my head as I walk into the kitchen. He's at the table beating walnuts to death. The chicken is at its bowl eating its lunch. The hound swallows a handful of nut fragments. He points at the coffee percolating behind him. He's drinking whiskey for breakfast. I take a mug from the cupboard and fill a glass. Do you ever get that feeling? I sit at the table. What feeling? The strange feeling. I look at the chicken all the time. He shakes his head. I mean the strange feeling like you're talking to yourself. I think you'd know when you're talking to yourself. The look on his face unnerves me. Would you? Would you know that for sure? I set a folder of documents on the table. That's a subtle way of changing the subject. He sweeps shell debris into a pile on the table. What is this? If that's what I think it is, then you are looking at past mistakes. He's cracking his knuckles, and the pops and snap like firecrackers. My failure. You know that strange feeling you were talking about? Well, I get it when I look at these pages. I want to know why. Wouldn't that be nice? Look, something about this whole thing feels wrong. This isn't a memory echo. It's something much more than that. I know these people, and I don't know how. I have a feeling you can tell me. The chicken is at his feet, begging for a lap. Not at the table, sweetie. It doesn't let up. Oh, all right, just this once. The hound strokes the bird as it jumps up, nestles in. I did everything I could, and it wasn't enough. That's the short answer. The long answer is much more complicated. Who is the child? He looks away. Fine, be a coward. But at least tell me what happened, why I know this information this fast. I can't. Why? Because I can't trust myself. I have no idea if what I'm thinking is what I am thinking, if what I remember is the truth. I don't let up this time. Who is the child? He shakes his head. Answer me. No. His voice is meek. Who is the child? Why do I know this child? No, I can't. Tell me. No. He slams his fist into the table. The chicken falls to the floor and scuttles away. Where are the photos? There's no photos, not one. There wouldn't be. Why? There were laws then to protect those most vulnerable. Oh, yes, it was different then. People exploited people for money. We had to keep certain people safeguarded from those practices. Children are often the most vulnerable. Names are redacted, only in the case of the child and only once the case was closed. Again, as a form of protection. Why? Look, lots of things were different then. We had elocution laws for crying out loud. Do you know what it's like for someone who didn't have the right accent? Yes, you said that already. I did? Yes. He shakes his head. Well, it's true. Mandated uniformity, cultural cleansing, blending, fear, confusion, derision. We had it all. Who cares? I don't give a damn about all that. I throw the file in anger. Papers scatter all over the table. Why am I here? You're not here for you. You're here for me. You selfish thing. I'm a person. You can't do this to me. His eyes thin and his face hardens. I'm someone too. Don't you forget it. I'm about to fence with him some more when something catches his attention within the spilled papers. I scan his gestures, watch his gray eyes. What is it? Nothing. I snatch the paper from his hands. I read it. You can't be serious. He shrugs. What else should I do? Everything? Excuse me? You've included everything. What about your daughter? Won't you leave anything to her? She's moved on from all of this. She's not like me, all wrapped in the nostalgia. She doesn't look back, only forward. All of your things will be in the hands of strangers. So? We're only keeping it warm for the next in line. Even the bloody canvas, I shake my head. Who the hell would want it? You'd be surprised. He gets up from the table, sweeps the shells off the table. He takes the drops from his robe pocket and tilts his head back. 2 drops fall on each eye. His eyelids flutter. Is it helping? I still think it's too soon to tell. He runs his hands along the sides of his hair. He leans against the kitchen counter. The chicken is circling his bare feet. You know what I remember? What's that? Bird song. What do you mean? After the bismuth dust settled, you could hear the birds again. The catastrophe? He nods. Everything else was affected. Everything except the birds. They didn't know why then. Do they know why now? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. He scratches his chin. Didn't stop her, though. Who? Your daughter? He nods. Sometimes something good comes from something bad. The bird has curled up and is sleeping at his feet. It was just luck. Well, I guess with her, it was always a little more than luck. He puts his hands in his robe pockets. I didn't know about it until she showed me. Showed you what? A mineral. A mineral? No, not just any mineral. A new mineral. It began to naturally occur as a result of the catastrophe. Was it of any value? The people who took it from her thought so. It was so rare that for years she couldn't locate another specimen. They thought it would make them rich. It didn't. They were short-sighted and couldn't find any use for it. Plus, there was only one specimen. Tiny, almost insignificant. Almost. But she figured it out, all of it. What do you mean? She found another specimen. Years of searching. Imagine being driven like that by a feeling. I was fascinated by it, by her force. She turned nothing into something. How so? The hound stares at me. He looks shocked, like I should know. Color. A new color. And that's it. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us on the podcast today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, JF.
The Artsy Raven is produced by Dark Helix Press. Introduction voiceover by Chris Gorman. Music by Tim Moore. Please access your bonus content on the Patreon website. Thank you very much for listening, and please stay safe.